soft hum of the engines filled the cabin as Flight 392 from Dubai to London soared above the clouds. The seatbelt sign was off, the lights dimmed to a calm amber glow, and passengers had begun to settle into the rhythm of a long-haul flight. In seat 14A, an 11-year-old girl named Arya Malik slept peacefully, her head resting on a small unicorn pillow. Her brown hair shimmered faintly in the soft cabin light, and her tiny hands clutched a worn-out plush toy. A blue jet fighter, the same one her father had given her before he never came home. Arya's father had been a fighter pilot, one of the best in the Royal Air Force. He was brave, calm, and known for staying composed even when chaos surrounded him. He had once told her, "A real pilot doesn't fight the storm, Arya, she dances with it." Those words stayed with her. It had been 2 years since he'd gone missing during a rescue mission. Arya's mother rarely spoke of it, and this trip to London was meant to help her heal. Her mother sat beside her, quietly reading a magazine, unaware that tonight, destiny had other plans. The calm before the storm 2 hours into the flight. Turbulence began, a small shake, then a rumble. Passengers stirred, some fastening seatbelts, others brushing it off, but in the cockpit things were far from calm. "Captain Lewis, I'm seeing a fuel imbalance in Tank 2, said First Officer Grant, his voice low but tense. Captain Lewis frowned, scanning the panel. "Crossfeed's not stabilizing." "That's odd." Then it happened. A sudden explosive pop followed by a shudder that ran through the entire aircraft. Oxygen masks dropped with a hiss. Alarms blared and gasps filled the cabin. People screamed. Luggage tumbled from the overhead bins. The calm sky outside had turned into a dark wall of storm clouds. Lightning flickered across the windows like veins of fire. Arya woke up in panic. "Mama, what's happening?" she cried, clutching her toy jet. Her mother tried to stay calm. "It's okay, sweetheart. Just turbulence. Keep your mask on." But deep down she could see it wasn't just turbulence. The captain's voice through the speakers came, the captain's strained voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are experiencing an unexpected systems failure. Please remain calm and stay seated with your seatbelts fastened." The announcement cut off abruptly. In the cockpit, Captain Lewis struggled to keep the plane level. Both autopilot systems had disengaged and the right engine showed erratic power readings. "Hydraulics are dropping," Grant shouted. "Switch to manual override," Lewis replied, gripping the yoke. But the controls felt heavy, sluggish, almost locked. A burning smell filled the cockpit. Smoke began to creep from the side panel. "Fire in engine 2, Grant yelled. "We're losing altitude." The captain made the decision. He had to shut down the engine manually. But as he reached for the controls, a jolt sent him forward. His head hit the console. The cockpit went eerily quiet except for the wind howling outside. Panic in the cabin. Flight attendants hurried down the aisles trying to calm terrified passengers. One attendant, Sarah, was shaking as she called the cockpit. No answer. She knocked on the door. "Captain, do you read?" Nothing. Arya's eyes followed her. She could sense something was very wrong. Her instincts, sharp and unexplainably mature for her age, began to whisper. Then the intercom crackled and a trembling voice came on. "Attention passengers. This is flight attendant Sarah speaking. We're experiencing a critical situation. Is there any pilot or fighter pilot on board?" Her words echoed through the cabin like thunder. Gasps, murmurs. People turned to each other in disbelief. Arya froze. Fighter pilot? She looked down at her plush jet fighter, the toy her dad had given her. The one with the stitched initials RM. Rayan Malik. Her father's name. Her small hand tightened around it. Memories in the storm in her mind. Arya saw her father again. Sitting in his flight suit, smiling. "Always trust your instruments. Never let fear fly the plane, Arya." He used to take her to the simulator base where she'd play with flight controls under supervision. She wasn't just watching, she was learning. The angles, the throttle, the way pressure affected lift. Things no one expected an 11-year-old to understand. But tonight she would need all of it. The aircraft dipped again. Alarms, screaming. A suitcase flew across the aisle. Her mother held her tight, but Arya whispered, "Mom, the plane's in trouble." Her mother looked terrified. "I know, baby. Just stay calm." "No, Mama. The right engine's dead," Arya said quietly. "We're losing altitude too fast." Her mother stared, shocked. "How do you know that?" Arya looked out the window. The flicker of lightning illuminated the engine, motionless. No. A voice of courage, Sarah, the lead flight attendant, was trying to make another announcement, but her hands were shaking. Arya stood up. Her mother grabbed her arm. Arya, sit down. I can help, she said. Her mother was stunned. You're just a child. Arya turned to her with eyes that didn't look like an 11-year-old's anymore. They asked for a fighter pilot. My daddy taught me everything he knew. The plane jolted again. Oxygen masks swayed, passengers cried. Lightning struck close enough to rattle the fuselage. Sarah turned and saw the little girl walking toward her, clutching her toy jet. Sweetheart, you can't be up right now, Sarah said, crouching. Arya spoke softly but with eerie calm. The captain's not responding, right? You need someone who knows the flight systems. Sarah blinked. How could this girl know that? The moment of decision, they reached the cockpit door. Sarah hesitated, knocked again, no response. From inside, faint smoke leaked through the edge of the door. Sarah opened it with the emergency key and gasped. The first officer was semi-conscious, bleeding from a cut. The captain wasn't moving. The instruments blinked red. Altitude 12,000 feet and dropping fast. Outside Saru, the storm raged, flashes of light reflecting off the clouds. Sarah turned to Arya. Oh God. We're going down. Arya stepped closer, looking at the panels. Her father had taught her to recognize the basics. Altimeter, throttle, rudder trim, and stabilizer. She placed her toy jet gently on the co-pilot's seat. Daddy, she whispered. Fly with me one more time. This is your captain. Arya Malik, her small fingers reached for the headset. She pressed the intercom button and spoke, her voice shaking at first, then steadier. This is Arya Malik. I need everyone to stay calm. Please keep your seatbelts fastened. We're going to be okay. Every passenger froze, an 11-year-old's voice. On the PA, whispers spread across the cabin. Who is she? Did she just say pilot? Is this a joke? But Arya wasn't joking. She looked at the throttles, her father's voice echoing in her mind. Ease, don't force. Airplanes feel your fear. She gently adjusted the left throttle, trying to stabilize power. The plane leveled, slightly. The storm still roared, but the descent slowed. Sarah's eyes widened. You're actually doing something. Arya didn't answer. She was focused, the ghost in the sky on the radar. A faint ping appeared, a nearby Air Force control picking up their distress signal. A voice crackled through the radio. This is Royal Air Force Control Tower to Flight 392, do you copy? Arya picked up the headset. This is Flight 392, we've lost both pilots. I'm trying to stabilize. There was a long silence. Then, who is speaking? Arya Malik, she said softly. I'm 11, another silence. Then the radio officer's voice returned, urgent but calm. Arya, listen carefully. You're doing amazing. We're here with you. Just keep the wings level. Can you tell me your altitude? Arya checked the altimeter. We're at 10,800 feet. Losing about 200 a minute. Good, you're doing great. Just keep it steady. We'll guide you in. The officer didn't know it yet, but he recognized that last name. Malik. Arya Malik. Are you related to Commander Rayan Malik? A pause. Yes, she whispered. He was my father. The radio went silent again, then the officer replied with emotion in his voice. Your father once saved my life in Afghanistan. He was a hero. And now it's your turn. Arya blinked back tears. The cockpit lights flickered again. She tightened her grip on the yoke. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, a child was rewriting destiny. The storm outside raged like a living thing. Sheets of lightning tore through the clouds, flashing across the cockpit windows as if the heavens themselves were watching. Inside Flight 392, the passengers clung to their seats, praying, whispering, crying. But in the cockpit, a small figure sat determined, her eyes fixed on the instrument panel. Her name, Arya Malik, age 11. Her mission, keep 250 souls alive. The weight of the sky, Arya, this is Air Force Command, the voice said through the radio. Calm but heavy. You're doing great. We've scrambled 2 jets to intercept you and guide you out of the storm. Can you maintain your current heading? Arya glanced at the navigation display. The turbulence was wild, the numbers danced, the compass spun. She remembered her father's words. When the instruments go crazy, trust your training. Trust your instincts. She gripped the yoke gently and steadied the plane. Heading 240, holding as best I can. Copy that, Flight 392. Stay with me, Arya. We'll get you home. Behind her, Sarah, the flight attendant, stood trembling. "Arya, how are you doing this?" Without looking up, the girl whispered, "My dad taught me. He used to fly the same kind of systems in his simulators. He said one day the sky might test me too." Sarah looked at the child in awe. No panic. No fear, only focus. Echoes of a fighter pilot on the radar at RAF Bryce Norton. 2 Typhoon fighter jets had locked onto Flight 392 signal. Their call signs, Viper 1 and Hawk 2, control. "This is Viper 1. We have visual on the passenger aircraft and she's low. Looks unstable, right engine out. Copy. Viper 1. Pilot on board is incapacitated. You're looking for a young operator. Name's Arya Malik." The pilot paused. "Malik? As in Commander Rayan Malik?" "Affirmative. His daughter." The cockpit went silent for a second. "Understood," Viper 1 replied. "We'll bring her home. Commander Malik saved my squadron once. Now it's our turn." The girl in the sky area adjusted the stabilizer trim just as her father had taught her in their old garage simulator. Her small fingers trembled on the control. The altitude dropped, 9,200 feet. The storm outside howled like a beast. She spoke softly into the headset. "Tower, I'm losing altitude. Left engine power is unstable. Copy that, Arya. Try reducing throttle on the left to 60% and stabilize pitch at 3 degrees nose up." Arya nodded, even though they couldn't see her. She adjusted slowly. The nose of the plane lifted, and the screaming alarm in the cockpit fell silent. The storm began to break. Gaps appeared in the cloud layer and sunlight spilled through for the first time. The passengers gasped in relief as the plane leveled. Some even clapped, not knowing it was a child guiding them through death itself. A father's promise as Arya steadied the aircraft. Her gaze fell on the cracked photograph taped near the captain's console, a picture of a family. It reminded her of her own father's smile, his calm eyes beneath his helmet. She blinked back tears. "Daddy, I can't do this without you," she whispered. Then, she remembered, the last night before his final mission. He had knelt beside her bed, kissed her forehead, and said, "If one day you ever hear the sky calling you, don't be afraid. Arya, because I'll be flying right beside you." Those words suddenly didn't feel like memory. They felt like presence. A faint shimmer of lightning glowed in the clouds ahead, but Arya didn't flinch this time. "Tower, this is Flight 392. I've got control stable for now." "Excellent, Arya," came the reply. "You're doing better than half our cadets." A chuckle echoed on the radio, small, but full of pride. The escorts arrived, then came a voice through the static. Clear, deep and protective. "Flight 392, this is Viper 1. We've got your 6. Arya turned her head toward the window. Through the mist and rain, she saw it. A gray fighter jet, sleek and powerful, flying alongside her, its pilot saluting through the glass. Her heart skipped. It looked just like the jet from her toy, the one her father used to fly. "Hello, Arya," said Viper 1 through the comms. "You're not alone anymore. We'll guide you out." Tears filled her eyes. "Hi, Viper 1, she said softly. "My dad used to fly jets like yours." "We know," he said. "He was a legend." Another jet appeared on her left, Hawk 2. Together, they formed a triangle around Flight 392. The 3 aircraft sliced through the dark clouds like a formation of hope. The hidden failure, just as calm began to return, another alarm blared, a deep, mechanical tone. Beep, 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 hydraulic pressure low. Arya's face drained of color. She checked the gauge. It was red. The hydraulic system, which controlled the plane's flaps and landing gear, was leaking. "Tower, I'm losing hydraulics," she called. "Copy that, Arya. That means you might have trouble lowering your landing gear. We'll prepare for a belly landing if needed." "Belly landing?" Sarah whispered behind her, horrified. "It means we land without wheels," Arya said quietly. The flight attendants began to move through the cabin, preparing passengers for impact. Panic returned like a wave, people crying, praying, clutching hands. But in the cockpit, silence. Only Arya's steady breathing. The secret message as she fought to stabilize the plane, another voice broke through the static. It was the Air Force commander again. "Arya, there's something you should know. Your father's last mission wasn't an accident." Her eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "He was protecting a civilian aircraft from a missile strike. He saved hundreds." His last radio transmission mentioned you. Arya's throat tightened. "What did he say?"
He said, "Tell my daughter the sky is hers now." Tears streamed down her face.
The storm outside began to thin into soft golden light. The fighter jets flanked closer, their wingtips steady beside hers. A sky built on courage. "Arya, you're approaching Heathrow airspace," said the tower. "We're ready for you. You'll be landing on runway 27. Emergency crews are in place." Her hands trembled slightly. "What if I can't get the wheels down? Then we'll guide you through a gear-up landing. You'll keep the nose high and glide until the speed bleeds off. You can do this." She took a deep breath, the way her father used to before takeoff. "Okay, let's do this." She toggled the gear lever. Nothing. Red lights blinked. The wheels were jammed. "Negative gear response," she said calmly. "Going for emergency procedure. Copy that. You're cleared to attempt manual override." Her small hands reached under the control panel, pulling the manual hydraulic lever. It resisted, then gave way with a loud clank. The indicator light flickered and one wheel down, then another. "The nose gear. Stuck. Nose gear not deployed," came the report. Arya exhaled. "Then we're landing without it." The descent of a legend's daughter. The runway appeared ahead through the thinning clouds. Emergency lights glowed along the tarmac like a path carved through destiny. Viper One's voice crackled again. "You've got this, Arya. Remember, wings level, throttle steady. Just like your dad." Arya smiled faintly through tears. "I know. He's here. We see him too," said Hawk 2 softly. She eased the throttle. The engines roared lower. The plane descended, nose slightly up. Sparks beginning to fly as the rear wheels touched the ground. Screams echoed through the cabin. The fuselage scraped the tarmac, metal grinding, smoke trailing. The nose dropped. But Arya held the yoke with every ounce of strength in her small hands. "Hold it, Arya. Hold it," shouted the controller. Then, silence. The plane slid, slowed, and stopped. For a moment there was nothing. Just the sound of rain tapping against metal. Then, applause, cheers, sobs. The passengers were safe. After the storm rescue teams rushed in, the fighter jets circled overhead, dipping wings in salute before vanishing into the clouds. Inside the cockpit, Arya sat frozen, her hands still on the controls, tears streaming down her face. Her mother burst in, hugged her tightly, crying, "You did it, my love. You did it." Sarah knelt beside them. "You saved us all." But Arya looked past them, toward the faint glimmer of sunlight beyond the windshield. And for a brief second, through the haze she saw it, the silhouette of a man in a flight suit standing in the light, smiling her father. The roar of emergency crews, flashing lights, and the murmur of relieved passengers slowly faded into the distance. Flight 392 had touched down safely, and yet in the back of her mind, Arya Malik felt as if the storm had never truly ended. She sat on a stretcher in the makeshift triage area of Heathrow Airport, her small hands still trembling from the cockpit ordeal. Tubes and monitors surrounded her, but she barely noticed. Her eyes were fixed on the sky outside, where the storm had finally surrendered to golden rays of sunlight. Her mother knelt beside her, holding her hands tightly. Tears ran down her face. Relief and pride mingled into a raw, overwhelming emotion. You saved them, Arya. All of them," she whispered, choking back a sob. Arya's voice was small, yet unwavering. "I just did what Daddy would have done." The arrival of legend soon. A sleek convoy of military vehicles arrived at the airport. 2 men stepped out, the pilots of Viper 1 and Hawk 2, the jets that had escorted her through the storm. They were decorated, imposing figures, yet as they approached, their expressions softened at the sight of an 11-year-old girl, still in shock, still clutching her blue jet fighter plush. The taller of the two, Viper 1 knelt down to Arya's level. "Arya Malik," he said, his voice filled with awe. "I've flown thousands of missions, but today, you taught me what courage really looks like." Hawk 2 added, "Your father, Commander Rayan Malik, would be proud. He saved lives for years, but today his daughter carried that legacy forward." Arya blinked. She wanted to speak, but no words came. Only tears. The world learns her story. News cameras swarmed, reporters clamoring to tell the miraculous tale. The headline flashed across global media within hours. 11-year-old girl saves passenger jet. During engine failure, fighter pilots say she carried her father's legacy. Arya became an instant symbol of courage, of hope, of the unbreakable bond between parent and child. Messages poured in from every corner of the world. Pilots, soldiers, children, even her classmates. They all marveled at the bravery of a girl who had faced death and the storm and emerged victorious. But for Arya, it wasn't about fame. It was about honoring her father, about living up to the promise he had left her. The sky is yours now. A father's final secret after the initial chaos settled. The Air Force arranged a private meeting between Arya and the pilots who had guided her. Viper 1 handed her a small, leather-bound notebook. "Your father left this for you," he said gently. Arya opened it with trembling hands. Inside were handwritten notes, diagrams of flight maneuvers, emergency procedures, and a letter addressed to her. "Arya, if you are reading this, it means the sky has called you. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in spite of it. Fly with your heart. Trust yourself and know, I am always with you." Her chest tightened. The storm, the fear, the uncertainty. Everything suddenly made sense, Hawk. 2 placed a hand on her shoulder. "Your father's spirit is in you, Arya. He trusted you, and so do we." Recognition and honor. The next day, a special ceremony was held at the airport. Arya, dressed in a crisp uniform provided by the Royal Air Force for young cadets, stood on a stage before hundreds of military personnel, passengers, and reporters. The Air Force commander addressed the crowd. "Today, we honor not only the bravery of Commander Rayan Malik, but also his daughter, Arya Malik, who displayed heroism beyond her years. She reminded us all that courage knows no age." Applause thundered through the hangar. Arya's mother hugged her tightly, whispering, "Your father would be so proud." Arya looked out at the runway where the fighter jet sat ready, gleaming under the sun. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "I'll make you proud, Daddy, I promise." The sky remembers its own weeks past. Arya returned to school, the world watching every step. But she remained grounded, humble, and always thinking of her father. One evening, as she sat on the balcony of her home, she looked at the horizon. The clouds were painted pink and gold by the setting sun. Her blue jet fighter plush lay beside her. She held it tight and spoke into the fading light. "Thank you for showing me how to fly. Daddy, I won't forget." For a brief moment, she swore she saw a shadow glide across the sky, a figure in a flight suit saluting her. The wind whispered past her ears like the echo of a familiar voice. "The sky is yours, Arya. Always." Her chest swelled with pride and peace. She knew deep inside that she had not only survived the storm but had inherited a legacy of courage and honor, a bond that not even death could break. And somewhere above, the clouds seemed to part in quiet reverence, as if the heavens themselves were acknowledging the bravery of a girl who had slept on a flight until the world needed a fighter pilot.